but you couldn't find the rope, or you didn't know how to tie the knot in the rope, and the knot in your relations. I know that it feels like you're burning and you're collapsing, but I also know that you know that this is exactly how the galaxies are made, so burn and make a world of your own.
Art spaces. Be cosmic art. Art faces. Why are you creative?
Why are you creative, Danny?
I think creative is not an character aspect, but it's a process of doing, you know. So everyone can be creative and everyone is creative, but you are not born with creativity, I think. Because you can find creativity in every aspect of life, you know, with gardening or fitness or going to work, taking the train at the right moment, or using your get a right connection from point A to B. It's like everything is like it's a creative process. It's not an aspect.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm creative. I try to be creative from time to time. Yeah.
I think for me, the reason why I can be creative sometimes is that it helps you travel, right? And I think we're wandering species. We want to go to places, we want to see something else constantly. And when you're creative, when you create like a ceramic object or a poem or a song, you're traveling to either deeper places in your own emotions or in a shared emotion with the society. And I think it's all about journeying to as many places as possible. And if a creative action can help you do that, then I think it can sustain you. And it's many times when I'm creative in terms of like some artwork, like poems or even academic stuff, or like you said, taking a bus or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The act of creation is to create a space or an action. And every time we do that, I think we go a bit beyond ourselves, a bit beyond just the immediate state of existence.
Yeah, you grow with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're doing something new and something that hasn't been there before.
Yeah.
In some way or another.
Yeah, every breath is creative. You're always in that motion of going further.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you grasp that new breath and want to do something with it, it just helps us all to live in a creative world. And I think creativity rocks. And whether subconsciously or consciously, people are always creative.
Yeah.
How do you show your creativity?
I can show my creativity by making a bunny face.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's being creative, or
Yeah,
like
or something like that.
yeah. So there are so many different ways that I can try to be creative. Like even making coffee every day. I make coffee with an AeroPress, and sometimes I never shut the lid, and then every morning it's like a coffee splash episode. But it's a good way to start the day, to create chaos and to clean it, and in that moment you realize it's wake up time.
Yeah.
And in every creative action, if it can energize you in a similar way of you did this and now you have the energy to keep going on. And yeah, I think, how am I creative? In what ways am I creative?
Yeah, I think it's a difficult part to answer the part like how do you show it?
Yeah.
Because you are doing it anyways, but how do you show it?
Yeah.
And that's a big part for creative people who are trying to make a living of it.
Yeah.
With all the social media and being like your own marketing manager.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because I think it's also very connected to the part like that when you are creative, that you don't want to be a show off.
Yeah.
You just want to show.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And that's like a dance on a thin line, you know.
Yeah.
When you are
It
a
is.
show off, and it's a very difficult question to answer, I think. Yeah.
But I think in these times, I'm very fortunate to have friends like Danny to collaborate, because that's a really pure place to show creativity and to even share creativity. And I understand that at the moment the world is like, people are becoming their own marketing managers, and that you not only have to create, but you have to show it in a way that it's recognized, and that it spreads, and that you have like viewers and content generation and all of that.
Yeah.
But I think from very, very long times ago, I think the best way that us as a civilized or a cultured society have shown creativity is by sharing it, is by making people gather in creativity. And that, I think, is the best show of creativity, where everyone can feel that creative moment and feel that energy from that creative moment.
Yeah. It's always a good feeling when you show someone something,
Yeah.
and they feel like the same way that you did when you were creating it, you know.
Yeah.
It's very rewarding
Yeah.
when you show it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we show creativity, and they show reception and understanding, and they relate to it, and that makes it a full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So showing is good. But don't be a show off.
What motivates you?
Yeah, it's just like kind of an urge that you have to release, that you have to put out something. But it's also like, this aspect of like, for example, when I listen to music, it's always I feel like it's at certain pieces, you know, you feel like it's so crazy, like it's just a bunch of notes that were been played, like just like you know all the notes, but like this particular order of these notes just gives you something, you know.
Yeah.
And you don't know why.
Yeah.
So it's like it speaks to you.
Yeah.
So the motivation to be creative is like to be like in the position that you can touch someone else with these notes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you become like the inspiration that you got from other people.
Yeah.
It would be like the biggest reward anyone could get, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what
Your
I would
biggest
say.
motivation is
Yeah.
to take
I could be-
inspiration
if I
and
could-
hopefully inspire.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I could be like an MF Doom for someone, or like a Pat Metheny, which I never will be.
Why?
Because they're crazy.
You just contradicted your
They're
statement.
crazy. No, you like that's also
Yeah.
part of it, you know.
I understand.
You will never reach your inspiration, because then you will no longer be inspired by them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But you can be like, it's not like horizontal, it's not like vertically, you
Yeah.
know, that one is on the top and
Yeah.
one is at the bottom.
Yeah.
But it's like,
Broad.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a spectrum.
Yeah.
Everything is a spectrum nowadays.
Yeah.
But that's what it is.
Yeah. Absolutely right. And I think for me, a lot of my motivation comes from the struggle to deal with or to understand things. For example, in my personal life or in social life, when I feel shook by a certain act or a certain kind of speech or any activity that challenges your fundamental rights as a human being, and when that shakes your core, there's so much energy that's like, you know, developing in you, and you feel like a volcano without the top to burst. And so when such kind of an inspiration comes or such kind of an impulse comes, there's some way that you let it out. Some people let it out by making a beautiful table, by just spending into that physical skill, by just dealing with letting your emotions out in like a occupational therapy. And yeah, for me, a lot of my motivation comes from the inability to understand the world at large. and personal.
Amen.
What can block you?
Everything.
Yeah, myself. I can block myself all the time just because I can sometimes be the queen of procrastination. And I'd be like, oh, that's a great line for a poem, or that's a great idea to branch into and, you know, like further yourself in. But you're like, oh, I could also do it tomorrow. And to be honest, yeah, it's nice to live like today is all you ever have. But just because of so much going on in the world, and it feels like everything is happening at your doorstep, whether it's happening miles away, it is just so overwhelming to channel your emotions. And in the last pandemic year or two, I felt absolutely blocked by, again, the inability to understand the world. And so any social catastrophe can block me immediately, but it can also bring me out of creativity, then helps me come out of this
shell.
Catastrophic shell.
Yeah.
But the only thing is that you attend to that motivation, that you are ready to accept it, and knowing that it's going to overwhelm you, that you are able to process it, take a deep breath, and let it out until it's finished.
Yeah, for me it's like self-criticism and perfectionism.
Yeah.
Because these are the two biggest points that can block you from doing anything.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like, that's the thing I learned from like the musicology studies. Like it was the first or one, like at the beginning in the first semester, there they said like, okay, if you go in fifths, if you have two voices and you go in fifths, it's wrong. It's just wrong.
Okay.
So they are a set of rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these are against the rules.
Yeah.
But Mozart did it anyway.
Yeah.
And so they called them like the Mozart fifths. So I realized like in music you can do everything wrong, and it's still music.
Yeah.
You know? It's still good. It still appeals to someone. It still speaks for itself.
Yeah.
So like perfectionism is the worst thing that could happen to any artist, because then you suppress the thing that you want to get out.
Yeah.
You know, and even if you always do the same thing, play the same 4 chords, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because you will always make something new out of it, you know?
Yeah.
But you are preventing yourself from making something new out of it when you are trying to make it perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, or trying to do every time something new.
Yeah.
Like when you sit on a keyboard or try to write an email and a poem, that you are saying, okay, I used that line before, so I can't use it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, this
also
kind of
with
thinking.
cliches. There is such a big ban on
stuff.
using cliches in poems and also in music.
Yeah. So you have to develop your taste and your kind of speaking, you know.
Yeah, spectrum.
The spectrum, yeah. But then, at a certain point, you just have to don't give a shit about it, you know.
Yeah.
Just like let it out what you have inside of you, you know. And even if it's the same 4 chords you played 100 times before.
Yeah.
You know, doesn't matter.
And I think like perfectionism to a limit is very, very good in the sense that it helps you keep growing the work as much as you can. You know, it's like not an elastic band, that's a bad analogy. But like, I'm not able to think of an analogy, but you know, you perfect it in a way that you want to make your artwork full. But then there also has to come a time when you have to feel comfortable in letting go, in trusting the work. That you put a lot of work and you try to make it perfect in every way that you think it can be perfect in, but then the work has to do its job. And the same way is with poems, like some of the professors who've helped me become a better poet, they've always corrected, like in a poem, for example, if I have an image and I elaborate it a lot, he's like, stop it. Like my professor was like, stop elaborating it. The image does the work. You've got to trust the audience, like the reader, the audience, and the image that you're putting in it. And so, there has to come a time when you find the difference between satisfaction and perfectionism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also a very thin line.
Yeah. We live on, like you said, we're all walking on a very thin line.
Yeah. Seiltänzer. Yeah, it's rope dancer.
Yeah.
What is your remedy against it?
Like a way out.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question. I don't have a recipe for it. It's just for me it's just phases, you know. And when you are in a certain phase, you just have to deal with it.
Yeah.
You know, and just try to
Get
live,
on with it.
Yeah, just try to live with yourself, you know. But it will get better, you know. Everything gets better.
Yeah, but I think
Or sport, for example, you can do sport,
yeah,
release stress with it, or go skateboarding, or
a
punch
million
in a
other
bag.
things. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the important thing for me to get out of something that blocks me is to block the very thing that blocks me. In the sense that in the last days, all the news from the world impacted me so heavily, and I knew that it's blocking me in being a normal, daily, functional human being. And I realized that if that blocks me, then I need to block that. You know, it's like a conversation of not attack and defense, but of understanding what affects you and how you want to like get on with it. And one way that I have tried in the past to get on with it, which has worked sometimes, is, so for example, news. I block the news for a couple of days and I go to the good part of the humanity in different kinds, like music, literature, photographs, artwork, and to dive deeper into the sentiment of our existence. And that can again then generate inspiration, like reading about someone talking so deeply about their personal lives and so openly about their personal lives inspires me to see if I can do the same. And if I feel so overwhelmed, can I get this overwhelmed emotion out in a way that it's a release and that I can grow from it. So I think, yeah, it's important to recognize what blocks you and then reply as an answer.
Yeah.
Without your passion, your art, your life would be
boring.
Empty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dark.
Yeah, it's just, it wouldn't be myself.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be mine.
Yeah. And it's hard to imagine because we are passionate people.
Everyone's passionate people.
Yeah. You're passionate in other things, but I think... But yeah, with my art, sometimes I think I have, for example, you know, you are asked to write, like I was once or twice asked to write a poem for a particular occasion. And if I'm not very passionate in my immediate reality about that topic, I not only fail myself, but I fail the art itself. The art of crafting a poem, the art of... So I think without passion, we'll be probably producing...
Shit.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
That's the word you were looking for.
Yeah. Without passion, we'd be directionless. And I would definitely be directionless. And yeah, I don't think I would like my passion... hormones? No. I mean, my passion...
Pride?
You know, like... Yeah, like, I guess... No, not... Okay. Cut.
Schwankungen, oder? So mood swings?
No, like, you know, you have melatonin, you have dopamine. What are all these things?
Hormones.
Hormones, yeah. So I know that in my body there are these passionate hormones that can keep driving me. And if they're absent or if they're inactive, then I'll probably end up producing shit. Yeah.
I think that's a good way
Yeah.
to end this question. It's like, what are you producing? Shit. Cut. Next question.
What would your creative utopia look like?
I think like there hasn't have to be a utopia or a creative. Like it's already there, you know. So if I understand it correctly, like if I could change something, that it would go better. Because it's already there, so you just have to optimize the process. And so I think education would be a big thing for me. Just like on the society level, just that you are putting way more money into social projects and education and rehabilitation rather than prohibition or restriction and stuff. Yeah, so you just like let people do what they want, you know. You just have to make less rules, not more. That's I think an unpopular opinion, especially in Germany. The bureaucracy state par excellence. But yeah, like if you get rid of all of the rules, you know, get rid of all of the rules, and then it will work out, you know. People will do their stuff, and it will be fine.
Yeah.
But people tend to control everything or want to control everything, but then I think that's not possible.
Yeah. I think on similar levels of how this is all we have, this world is what we've inherited, and to wish for an escape, to wish for a world where everything was proper is just impossible. Like, for me, it's impossible to imagine a world where nothing goes wrong, because I feel like we've been here long enough to know whether or not we are capable of only producing good and happiness. And many times in history we've proven that we're not even two sides of a coin, we're like a dice. We're so
diverse.
Yeah, and we're so complex. And I feel like for me, I love the creative acts and art and all the content that comes out of this world. Of course, I would wish that a lot of people weren't suffering as much as they are at the moment. And so I think that instead of wishful thinking, like we said in our dialogues, acceptance. To accept that this is the world we have, and that for any of our wishes to come true, there needs to be work done by each and every individual, because we all know what the perfect picture looks like. We all know what would be the best world, but it is within us, and we have the world to make it possible. And I think the only wish that I would have for the world is to, cliches again, live and let live. Like, you know, you've got so much to look at, to perceive, to receive, and to give back. And like everything else around us, all the animals, every leaf, every microorganism, it not only exists to keep itself alive, but it helps the other species to also grow and make themselves have a longer, more fulfilling existence. And I think that's something that we are capable of as well, to not only focus on our existence, on our individual existence, but also to make sure that we're helping everybody live that free existence. And I absolutely agree that education is one of the best ways to do it. But it so sadly happens that these days education has also become an industry where there are more rules being set. And we spend a lot of our life in school learning things, and then when we're out of our schools, we realize this is not how the world around me works. And so you spend a large part of your life unlearning, and then realizing that whatever I have unlearned, now I am free to grow from. I think this step we can avoid. This step of forcing a particular kind of mindset, a particular kind of
thinking, acting.
So because you don't want to make it so hard for people to break from whatever you've said to them in order for them to spend a smaller section of their lives in probably spending in pity, or that they in regret that they could have done so much with their lives. And the true fact is that we have only one life, and that life is probably for 60-70 years, in which we go through a lot of organized structures, like growing up, going to school, having a job, and da 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 da. But in the middle of all that, if we can make it easier for people to just look into their capacities and share their capacities and help grow each other like everything around us does, that would be great.
Yeah. That would be great, yeah.
But I don't think any other world could exist. Just because I can't imagine another world.
Yeah.
Who are you and what do you do?
Who are you, Danny?
That's a big question. Okay, yeah, I'm Dizzy Rodriguez. That's
you?
Yes. That's my alias.
Yeah.
Alias.
Yeah.
Yeah, alias. And yeah, I'm a musician foremost, playing the piano and keys and making beats like recently, and playing in different formations: Apes and Suits, Fatty, Moonlit Brooks, Future Family also, and yeah, just trying to do the thing that I want to do. Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's a nice you.
Thank you.
I am who am I? Why am I here? If I am here, what do I do? Who do I be? How do I know? Yeah, so I am first and foremost a very confused person about a lot of things, and sometimes I am alright, sometimes I'm overwhelmed, but yeah, my name is Tanya, and I only have so far done artistic collaborations with
Dizzy
Rodriguez. I have collaborated with for Moonlit Brooks, and I am a poet, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, and yeah.
So it's every time so deep with you.
I know. Well, that's because there's so much, and
yeah, it's good.
You don't know how to define it, and
it's
you
good.
don't know how to label it, you know?
Hit it out.
Yeah. So this is me. Here I am.
Making the best out of it.
Yeah. You're feeling like that blinking cursor on the computer screen that could type all the words in the world but doesn't know where to begin. Constantly blinking, but just blinking. You feel like your ice and you're melting and drifting away from everyone, like two sheets of ice that drift away from each other.
Cosmic Art Spaces.